During the past year, the Grand Lodge of England, Ireland, Scotland, and Egypt have marked this action of the Grand Orient of France with their disapproval and severed their fraternal relations. So far as I've been advised, every Grand Lodge that has met in America during this time has dissolved its relations with the Grand Orient of France. The Northern and Southern Supreme Councils have also taken such action. I know this Grand Lodge will do and faithfully by the ancient landmarks of the craft, and I trust it will take such action promptly and explicitly, but deliberately, as well indicate the integrity of the craft, and unite the Grand Lodge with every other over the Masonic world. No atheist can be made a Mason, and it follows that there can have no fellowship with atheists and irreligious liberties. The Grand Lodge of Freemasons in Ireland has passed the following resolution. Whereas the Grand Lodge of Ireland has received official notification that the Grand Orient of France has altered the first article of its constitution from its previous form and omitted therefrom as one of its fundamental principles belief in the existence of God and the immortality of the soul. The Grand Lodge of Ireland hereby resolves that the Grand Orient of France, having by such alteration rendered admissible as members of lodges within its jurisdiction. Isn't that what the Scottish Rite says in these days and times? That there's no divine teachings within the Masonic temple, that it's a fraternity? However, in the beginning of the reading, it specifically said that the Scottish was in disapproval and that divine teachings within the temple are ancient landmarks of the craft. But now they want to have a fraternity and just have parties and drink scotch and act like they know something. Persons who do not believe in the existence of a personal deity has thereby caused a breach in the foundation of ancient Masonry and acted in violation of the first great principle of the order. And therefore the Grand Lodge of Ireland hereby declares that it cannot continue to recognize the Grand Orient of France as Masonic body, and it hereby directs all lodges working under the Irish Constitution to decline receiving as Masons any person hailing from the Grand Orient of France or from any subordinate to lodge under its jurisdiction. Several months ago, the Grand Orient of France solemnly resolved that they would no longer recognize the existence of God in any Masonic rites, considering that Masonry is eminently a religious institution. But I thought they said it was a fraternity because they're liars and they switched up. Wholly uncertain, Christians and Jews being members with equal privileges, this repudiation of the deity is so extraordinary that the Grand Lodges of Scotland and England and some of the American lodges took similar action. Whether the great harm to the craft, which the action of the Grand Orient has taken, will generally disrupt the Mason Brotherhood is conjectural. The Orient has asked for a secret convention of brethren in England, Scotland, Ireland, and the United States to meet to consider the matter. But it is not solely that the invitation will be accepted. It is more likely that the Grand Orient will be repudiated everywhere. But it's not, because in these days and times, that's who they're following. They say there's no religion within the temple, and it is admitted here not only by Scottish, but Irish and England, that divine teachings are ancient landmarks of the craft, and they have turned away from that, and they are godless, and they say that they're a fraternity because they're leading you to the blind, to the slaughter. The York Rite and or the northern jurisdiction claims to have authority from the Grand Orient of France, and they directly spoke against Albert Pike, saying he had no authority and was speaking down on him, saying he only had 1,000 members and all that. But Albert Pike specifically said, this isn't for the many, it's for the few. He claimed to have authority from Frederick the Great, not Grand Orient of France. He said he didn't want no communication with the Grand Orient of France. You know why? Because as we have in the previous minutes, the Grand Orient of France compiled all of the transcripts and manuscripts while their Christian conquest over the Moorish Empire. And that's how they got all the Moorish manuscripts. And then now they're messing it all up. And all of them are following the Grand Orient of France. You go look, they're all consolidated. And they say there's no religion within the temple. And again, they said that divine teachings are an ancient landmark to the craft. They have turned their backs on my great-great-grandfather, and they should be ashamed. Now, in regards to divine teachings within the temple, which they modernly call a lodge today, because if they called it a temple, you would know. But we're not speaking about dogma as Albert Pike would speak, because he said that the Bible was used for every evil perpetration against man. So in regards to so-called religion, we're not speaking of the Bible. We're speaking of ancient manuscripts, which are the Moorish manuscripts in regards to Islamism, the old time religion, not the modern Muslim Islam that you see today. We're speaking about Islamism with the red flag, green star that's over 50,000 years old. The 5 highest principles known to man: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. When Albert Pike transitioned, his last words was shalom, 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 which is really salam, salam, salam. Islam. Peace, peace, peace.